Hey everyone, Disappointed Giant here. Welcome to another viewer build. This one's this is a bloody good run. Welcome to another viewer build, or should I say, welcome to two viewer builds. So this video is it's actually two viewer builds in one. So what I did was, for the first half of the video, I started leaning in towards one build that someone had suggested, and then we pivot over to a second build because they had some similarities, and we'll get into those as the run goes on, of course. But first and foremost, most importantly, I hope you're well. Hope everything's going good with you. Thank you, as always. Thanks for tuning in. Like tuning in like we are an old radio show from the 70s, right? Just tuning in so you can listen to your Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and all that stuff, whatever was going on back then. But for real, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it, and hopefully this will be a fun one for everybody. So the two builds that we're working towards here. So the second one, I'll just oh yeah, by the way, this run started with the Philosopher's Stone. 40 seconds in and we got ourselves the rarest item in the game in almost 80,000 bucks. Unbelievable. So let's do this backwards. So the build that the run ends with was a suggestion from Darius, and they just I don't have the comment in front of me. I should, but I don't. It basically said something like, I'm a sucker for a dope bleed build or something along those lines. And then so that's what we end towards. So we start moving towards that. The first half of the video, or the first build, was suggested by Heiro, or Hero, however you pronounce it. I probably should have asked you in the comments before I recorded this. But they had recommended sort of a Snake Fangs Stiletto build, right? So there's a little bit of built-in synergy there. So with the Snake Fangs, it's going to poison your enemy right off the bat, and then the Sadist Stiletto will do crit damage to either poisoned or bleeding enemies. So there's a little bit of self-synergy right there. My initial goal, oh man, this run has a story. Oh my god. First and foremost, I'm just really glad. I think I'm just going to take this here because I'm like, I have so much money. I'm just going to start buying stuff. And there's the stiletto, right off the bat. So first and foremost, thank God I got this run done. I tried to do live com. I tried to do live commentary off of the live boss rush video that I did with Modesto. Some folks were like, "Hey man, you should try some more live commentary," and I said, "Sure, let me give it a whirl." I am not being facetious when I say that. I tried to record 8 or 9 times. I lost every single run just because when I'm by myself, if I'm by myself, I have a lot of trouble doing live commentary. It's fine. It's fine if I'm with Modesto. It's fine if I'm doing it with Daniel or someone. But like when I'm on my own, it's like my brain just can't do both of those things. So after failing for a long time, after failing for multiple hours, I said, all right, well, I'm just going to get this run. Let me just try it. Let me try it without recording any audio. Let me just see if I can get the run. And it worked out so much better. This worked out so much better than any of the builds that any of the runs that I actually tried. The good news is that we are going to roll into this Snake Fangs build, or they should say the Stiletto build, really quickly. We're going to get our way into it like right off the bat. And what's funny, and I didn't realize this until we hit the shop there, the Swift Sword that I have here, it poisons the enemy. So I'm going to use the Swift Sword to poison the enemy, same thing like Snake Fangs, and then I'm going to get the crits from the Stiletto. So this is like I don't know, this is like if you're buying a pair of Snake Fangs out of a trunk somewhere and someone's like, "Hey man, these are legit Snake Fangs," and you pull it out and you get a Swift Sword and you're like, "I don't know, man, that doesn't look legit." And the guy's like, "Look at the label, it's Snake Fangs," right? That's sort of what we got here. So I figured, I'm like, all right, so this is, and we also have bonus to poison on the Stiletto there. So that's right off the bat, we're off to like a really good start, right? I do find Snake Fangs soon. I can't remember if it's here or if it's in another level or two. We do get Snake Fangs relatively soon, if I'm remembering correctly. Again, this is like the 10th run, the only successful run, obviously. So we do get some Snake Fangs, but in the meantime, I'm like, all right, well, technically this is kind of the build. This is kind of the build, right? Because we have one weapon that does poison, and then we have another weapon that gets crits off said poison. So I feel like I was thinking to myself, all right, man, even if we don't find the stiletto, even if we don't find it, or I should say the snake fangs, we at least have some semblance of some kind of iteration of the build that Heiro recommended, right? So I'm saying to myself at this point, I'm like, all right, man, that's a win. That's a win. Because like I said, this run had been a little bit of a challenge. And I've been messaging with Daniel a lot over Discord and just like sharing things with him. And I'm just like, dude, I can't do it. I can't do it. And it's funny because people like him are so good at live comm. It's like second nature, second nature. But I'm really glad I did not hang it up after I finished that, or I should, finished isn't even the right word. After my last attempt, I was super discouraged. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do it. And I was like, well, let me just try one more time. Let me try one more time. And we got ourselves a really good run. So from a cosmetic perspective, I chose the Sanguine Vortex head for obvious reasons. It's literally a blood head, so I picked that one. And then I was going through the outfits, and there's a bunch of red ones, right? There's like the what do you call it? Is it not Arbiter? What's it called? The Apostate outfit from the Fatal Falls DLC. There's a couple other ones here and there, but I decided to go for the Spicy Queen outfit because this was the reddest one. There was the Red Death outfit, but it wouldn't be able to, I couldn't use the head with that, so I chose against that one. There is the Cursed Giants outfit, but it wasn't red enough. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to really tap into the blood. I really wanted to tap into the blood here. Oh, perfect. Okay, and then we get a cleaver that I really want, and then of course the shop is mimics. So early mimics, not good. Early mimics are no bueno here, right? So I'm gonna use the magnetic grenade, and then I'm gonna run and heal just to try to top off here. Because I'm saying to myself, all right, man, you've already had yourself a nice little challenging couple of days here. The last thing you need is to start a run with a Poison Swift Sword, with a Sadist Stiletto, with a Philosopher's Stone, and then have it fall apart. But as you can see here, after I healed, I did pretty well here. We got ourselves that cleaver. It has bleeding propagation, which I love, right? So that means when an enemy dies by that cleaver and has bleed, it's gonna have this big area of effect. It's gonna have a big pop. Big pop's going to happen, and anything that is within that circle, here we go, we got ourselves our first good dual stat here. Anything in that circle is going to start to bleed, and oh man, huge hit. I think here I'm just like, I'm trying to say to myself, do I want to heal? And I think I roll with it. I'm pretty sure I just roll with it. I don't think I heal. I might actually find some big malaise food or something like that. Okay, we just got little food right there, so I immediately was like, Thank goodness, right? I didn't want to heal, even though I probably should have, based on the fact that, like I just said, I didn't want to lose this run here. But yeah, that was, I forgot about that big hit. I just recorded this like 2 hours ago. I already forget what happens. Would you expect anything less? That's the question at this point. So the cleaver, I got that cleaver. It got bumped up. So I think it's a level 10 because it was mimic now. I'm pretty sure sewers are level 8 gear. So that would have been a level 10 cleaver. And it has that bleed propagation. So right off the bat, we're going to get some extra blood bleeding kind of like spread around. I love bleed prop. It's really great. You can find it on, oh yeah, here we go. Here's the big food that we find. You can find it on any enemy, any item that procs bleed. So I think, throwing knives, sinew slicer, cleaver, blood sword. I think knife dance is another one. So any item that can cause bleeding can also have that, have the bleed prop there. I love it. The area of effect, we'll see it when it happens. The area of effect when you kill an enemy with that cleaver and it actually spreads the bleeding, it's almost like the whole screen. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. The I guess you could call this a downside. I personally, I like it because it helps me sort of like wrangle, helps me like wrangle all the enemies in. I guess you could say like the downside of bleed prop is that any enemy that is nearby that starts to bleed will 4 or 5 BC will teleport to you, right? So it's going to take the damage. It's going to come right towards you. If it's an elite, no matter what the BC is, it's going to aggro and it's going to also teleport to you. So you got to be a little bit careful here, right? So it's sort of the similar but different to the, what do you call it? Frostbite. The mutation that will have enemies take damage if they're slowed. If you have a heavy weapon that has the slow all enemies affix and frostbite procs on them, like it's the same thing. They're going to teleport, elites are going to aggro, etc. So I like it. I think it's a really great affix, especially with something like this, right? Because we're trying to get as much dot as possible. We are leaning into the Sadist Stiletto as a crit fulfillment, if that's the right word, trying to make sure we get those crits out of there. So the bleed prop definitely helps. Let's see if we can see it here. Watch this. Ready? Look at that. The circle was so big it actually went off the top of the screen. It's wild. Went right off the top of the screen. In the cycle of luck continues here. So I just got an amulet that will spread poison. I don't know if it's when I move or when I roll, but I'm leaving a toxic cloud behind me now. So I have how many types of damage here? I have 3 sources of dot, right? So we have the cleaver that we just talked about. I have a toxic cloud that follows me around now as I run or as I roll or whatever it is. And then we also took open wounds. So that was the first mutation that I grabbed here. It'll open wounds procs bleed for every melee attack. So it's a great mutation. You can take it with any color. It will easily, if you have a weapon that has plus 60% to poison, it's such an easy way to get quick synergy. So it's really good. It's a great weapon. A great mutation. I think it works best with faster weapons, so that way you can get more bleed procs and more bleed pops. But it's still really good. So we have ourselves a little dot factory. We're working on it. And I got throwing knives in the backpack, so let's not forget that. So I'm taking a look around here, and I'm just saying to myself, dude, I think I want to go. So I might grab one of these, and then, yeah, I'm going to grab one food. I'm not even going to recycle the other one. It was literally right there. Didn't even want to recycle it, just grabbed it and said peace. Peace, I'm out. Doing a quick look, I almost forgot a fragment. There was a fragment up in that top right section that I went through and grabbed, but there we are. There it is. So we made ourselves through the first biome. Took a big hit there. I used a flask, almost had to use 2, but we made it through. And instead of skipping this biome, I decided to go to the corrupted prison. Decided to come in here. I was originally thinking like, all right, for the sake of length, maybe, and I got a good dual stat. I was like, maybe I could skip, but I decided not to. Just wanted to come through here. And I think, I think we get Barnacle out of here. I'm pretty sure this is the Barnacle run, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, good. This is I'm starting to be able to differentiate between all of my runs. All of the stack of runs here. And the other thing too is, like I was saying, I picked the queen outfit and the red head specifically. And sometimes what I'll do is when I record more than one run, or if I play more than one run, I will change my outfit in my head between runs. But because it's all been the same, I'm just like, wait, which one was it? But I know where we are. I know where we are now. We're in good shape. So that was a pretty clean curse. Not too bad. I remember when I was playing it, there actually might be another curse later on. There was one curse at some point that got a little bit hairy. That one didn't seem too bad. And let's see there. Yeah, you see the bleed prop again? I think it's almost the entire screen top to bottom. It doesn't reach edge to edge. Doesn't reach edge to edge, left to right, but it looks like top to bottom it's doing the whole thing, which is pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Something else that is great about this particular Sadist Stiletto is that it has plus 80% to poison on it. So not only is it going to crit against poison enemies, but it's also going to have almost double the damage on there, which is absolutely fantastic. And you might be asking, well, how does that work, right? How does it work if you have a weapon that will crit on poison? How can it also get bonus to poison, right? So the weapons have their own sort of, I think categorization might be the right word here. And then we see a blood sword. Yeah, so there's bleed prop on that too. I think I throw that in the backpack, right? Yeah. There are different item categorizations, I think is the right pronunciation here. So basically, there's snake fangs. There we go. So I'm gonna switch this out. Yeah, we're gonna roll because that was the original build suggestion. So and the other thing too that Heiro or Hero what they recommended was like, hey, you can have like another source of bleed, right? So it was like sinew slicer, cleaver, whatever it is. So right now, this is the build. Right now, this is the suggested viewer build. We have snake fangs to apply poison. We have Sadist Stiletto to benefit from that poison with the crits. We have the added bonus of the plus 80% to poison on the stiletto. We have the added bonus of cleaver with bleed propagation. So for me, I'm going to put a check mark here. So this is a fun build. You know, it's got some self synergy. It's a little relatively like straightforward, but like that's great. You press one button and then you press another and enemies disappear. They disappear. I love it. All right, so where's my checkbox? Here we go. Ready? There you go. There you go. One build down. I actually stop here to think about this, and I'm like, all right, this does double poison stacks. Is there a way that I could throw this in the build? And I had a moment where I was like, okay, I could do throwing knives, and I could put that in the backpack, and I could do this, and I could do that. But just because we finally got this thing online, you know, like I just said, big check mark here. I decided not to take it. I'm like, let's recycle it. Let's keep things on brand here. And then I think I go Dracula's castle here actually. So let's keep things on brand. But like I was saying, so there are different sort of types of weapons, right? So bleeding, so think of those bleeding things, right? So we have knife dance, blood sword, etc., you know, cleaver. Those are considered bleeding items, so you cannot get bonus to bleed on those items. Another thing, so if you have like, so torch is a burning item, you can't get bonus to burning or burning oil on torch. Same thing with vampire killer. Vampire killer is considered a burning item, etc. The Sadist Stiletto is not considered a poison item. It doesn't apply poison. You cannot get bonus to poison on snake fangs, but you can get it on stiletto. So I hope that actually makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But that's why you can get plus 80 to poison on stiletto. You can also get plus 60 to bleeding on it. So there is a chance that you could get an easy 140% extra damage bonus just by rolling the right affixes on that thing. Even with those affixes, though, it's a decent weapon. It's decent. So for me, the base damage is not good. Straight up, it's just not good. The base damage is not great. The critical damage is fine. It's fine enough. I think I'm just going to roll here I think I might be trying to get bonus to bleed on that thing. Don't love the regular damage. The crit damage is fine. But the weapon, the range is really small. It's got a very small range. So for me, it would need to get buffed. It would need to be buffed on a little bit where the critical damage was more, right? Either it was more or there was some other kind of modifier that would sort of balance off the fact that like it does have a very short range. I think maybe the thought process here, because Sadist Stiletto has just been the same thing since the beginning. It changed. Did it change colors? No, I think it's always been tactics and brutality. It's basically been the same thing since 1.0, but it's just really easy to get bleed or poison on something. So I wonder if that's the thought, where they're like, hey, these people are going to get crits so easy here. And this was super weird. I got the concierge exit right from the get-go. I think I look at the map here and I'm like, wait a second. Yeah, look at how small of a path that is. So that That is definitely a generation error. That should not have happened. Usually the concierge exit is up towards the top on one of the top exits there. And this is actually interesting. So I think what we'll do, or I should say I think what I will do, is as the run goes on here, once we start clearing out the top level of the castle, I want to see what generation is up there, because I wonder if something bugged out, because I think I take a hit, right? Yep, there it is. I remember that. I remember that. But something must have shifted there in order for the Black Bridge exit to generate so close to the beginning of the level. Again, that's not... If you go through any biome, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, right? I feel like Ramparts might be the closest where that something like that kind of could happen, where you will see the concierge exit maybe after a couple of towers, but like nothing that close. So I'm just gonna make a little mental note here to double check with what happens up top, see if we can figure out why the generation is different there. But yeah, the crits from Sadist Stiletto, they're fine. They're fine-ish, right? I feel like we're doing really good work here because we have that plus 80 to poison. So we're getting that extra, almost double damage. So we're getting that plus 80. That's definitely helping. That's absolutely helping. The Snake Fangs, so let's talk about the Snake Fangs a little bit. So they are also a item. It's got really short range, but look at this. So they're just going to be, yeah, we're doing good work there. We're doing good work. Also has slow, what do you call it? Slow range, short range, right? So Snake Fangs is one of those weapons that is kind of like a funky mobility. I don't know if mobility is the right word, but it's sort of, it reminds me of like, or I should say, I would kind of put it in the same camp of things as, am I going to grab anything here? I don't think I do. The same camp as things like Bladed Tonfus or the King Scepter, things that kind of like change your movement a little bit, right? So Snake Fangs works, it will teleport you to the nearest enemy or an enemy that's close enough away, and then you will start to do very fast attacks that poison that enemy. Again, similar to the Stiletto, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and then you'll start doing criticals after 5 stacks of poison. So you need to get 5 hits on an enemy. Then you'll have enough poison stacks in order to start doing the crits. So similar to the Stiletto, I feel like it's not strong enough, I feel like, on its own. Just for my own use. The crit damage is fine, similar to the Stiletto. The normal damage is nothing. What's the phrase? It's nothing to write home about. Actually, I would write home about it. I'd be like, hey ma, this Snake Fangs damage is too low. Send money. But yeah, so it's nothing great. It's nothing great. So but I do think the combination of the two, I think it's fun. I think it's a fun idea. I would not have done the build, or I wouldn't have tried the run 9 times if I didn't believe in the idea. So I think it's cool. It's just these 2 items on their own leave something to be desired, right? But we do get ourselves, like I was just saying, we got ourselves some good damage here. The 3rd mutation, so I took Predator last biome just to give me some safety. Every melee kill I'll be invisible for like 1.5 or 1.8 seconds or whatever it is at this point. Took that for safety, and then I took melee as our 3rd mutation here. So I wanted to take that because we're doing a lot of really fast, close-ranged melee attacks here. So any sort of slow or any sort of disruption in the enemy pattern here is going to be helpful. It's going to be helpful with Snake Fangs because we're just going to cycle through slowing and freezing the enemies, which is going to give them less time to react, which will give me more time to damage them with the crits or with whatever we got going on over here. So that's why I took melee. So I feel like with something like that, Snake Fangs is decent. I do recommend taking the, what's it called? The Catalyst card from the Diverse deck. That's the green one. With that card, every melee attack applies a stack of poison. So if you can get that with Snake Fangs, you're going to do extra poison, which means that you're going to be able to get the crits quicker. Legendary Snake Fangs isn't half bad. It will apply 2 stacks of poison instead of 1. So if you were to combine legendary Snake Fang with the Catalyst card, you're going to be getting crit crit conditions pretty quickly because that poison stack's going to ramp up. It's going to ramp up. So, but yeah, there we go. So build number 1, we got that checked off here. Fairly successful, I would say. Dracula's Castle, not too bad. Took a couple of hits here and there, but nothing too bad here. I think, yeah, I'm actually going to come back here later. I do remember this shop. I remember this shop because I forgot that I had the Philosopher's Stone here. And I remember going in there being like, let me buy this one thing. And then I was like, wait a second. Wait a second. I'm going to buy everything. I'm going to buy it all because I can. But overall, yeah, not a bad Drax Castle. Not a bad Drax Castle. And I didn't see anything that stood out in the generation there. I'll look again once we get back to the map here. And I could be totally off, but I'm fairly certain that every time I've been here, the concierge exit has been up here on one of the top levels. Again, I could be wrong. I'm only human. I'm usually wrong at least half the time. You guys know that. I'm not always like 50-50 is like a generous estimate of how often I am correct, or I should say how often I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case here. So like again, when I saw that exit, it took me by surprise. Definitely took me by surprise. There it is. So let's see. I think I'm just going to bounce, right? Oh no, I'm going to go back into the food shop here. So we're going to go in the food shop and I'm saying, all right, let me get some big food. I'll clear my malaise from death. And then I'm like, wait, let me get the cough syrup. I can afford it. And then I was like, wait, let me get the flask. So there we go. The benefits of finding a fill stone super early. We can just crank. We can just spend a ton of money. And that's it. All right, so we're good. We're done. We're gonna be bouncing out of here. I decided to go death instead of concierge. I go to concierge a lot, and after my recent boss rush experience last week or two, whenever it was, I fought death a lot. I practiced death a lot. I do take one hit here, I think, and it's ironically because melee slows him down a little bit, so I mistime one of my dodges. But I wanted to go death here. I wanted to switch it up a little bit. Not for me, like I just said, because I've been fighting death a lot lately. But I don't go here too often in my long play, so I wanted to spice it up. I'm just gonna take a quick sip. Pardon me. There it is. There it is. I love when Daniel comes here because he goes. It's so funny. This is such a greatly designed boss arena too. Like, look at the clouds up on the top, the way everything's circling there. It's so good. It's so good. So we're coming into death here. So there's a handful of attacks here. I'm actually doing, my damage is so good here that he's actually skipping some of his attacks. So there's a big slam that he does that will have these big sort of like purple waves come up. I end up skipping one of those phases. It should happen right there, but it doesn't. We skip it. The scythe phases come up, and there we go. I dodged just a little bit too early because he was slowed from melee there. But good fight, pretty decent. I like death a lot. I feel like out of all of the Castlevania bosses, ironically, or maybe not, I would rank them in the order that you see them. So death is number 1, Dracula 1 is number 2, and then Final Dracula would be number 3. But I like death. I feel like his patterns are manageable. It's nothing too crazy. Some fun attacks to dodge there. The scythes are kind of a pain, but I've gotten, like I said, I've just gotten used to him over the past like week. I've just been grinding it out. So did not get a legendary there. What am I going to do here? I'm going to re-roll my mutations. We're doing Predator, Open Wounds, and I think I'm taking Damn Vigor here. Yeah, I'm going straight to Stilt Village. I'm going to Stilt. So Stilt has out of all of the third tier, whatever, I should probably know what tier this is. The first biome after the first boss, let's just say that. It has the least amount of rewards, right? So as far as scroll fragments, scrolls, whatever it is, there are better options for sure. I think Sanctuary is the best, and then I think Graveyard and Shrines might be behind it, and Stilt is the worst. I'm not positive, but I think that's what it is. But I just wanted to come here because I wanted to kind of zip through. Feeling pretty good about the build. Again, this was like my 10th run. This is the only one I've done post on, obviously, but all of the live com stuff, I was like, I'm like, good, we're in a good spot. I would really like to leave now. I would really like to take the bullet train from here to the 5BC biome, please. So I decided to go Stilt, so that way we can kind of speed things up a little bit here. Personally, I like Stilt. It's nice and compact. I really appreciate that. You know, some of these levels can be huge. I mean, think about the difference, right? So if you were to go to shrines, like you get a guaranteed legendary, of course. But I feel like the level is so big because you have that first sort of platform where you spawn in, where the food shop is, and then you have the two big areas that are connected by all these other paths. I just feel like it's very big. I feel like shrines is maybe like 3 times as big as Stilt. I don't know. I could be wrong, but this is a nice dense map. This is a great map to come in to clear your blaze. It goes by super quick. And I think I'm going to start. Yeah, so here we go. So we made it through the first. I think I'm going to actually put the stiletto back on here. I think I'm going to do bleed. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I do, right? I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure we actually do a hybrid here. We go from snake fangs in stiletto to throwing knives in stiletto, and then I move away from the stiletto. There it is. Yeah, I'm going to move away from it completely from the next biome on. But yeah, it's nice and compact. It's pretty dense. You can get your malaise cleared here very quickly. You know, there's only like 2 or 3 structures you have to go through. There's not a lot of stuff going on here. You know, this is one of the earlier biomes. I feel like I don't know the specifics as to what biome came out when, but I'm fairly certain that Stilt was one of the original few that was in early access. So its design hasn't really changed. Its design hasn't really changed in, oh my god, when was early access? Was it 2017? Was it 9 years ago at this point? Dude, I have no idea. I don't know how long ago it was, but it was long. It was a while ago, but either way, this level does not have a lot of defining characteristics other than the fact that it's really short for me. So that's why I decided to come here. We'll clear some malaise. We're gonna get things moving, and like I said, I'm gonna try to, for my own mental health here, I'm just gonna try to. As I was playing, I was like, I gotta get through this as quickly as I can. And unfortunately it was cursed. So we're going to be taking a couple of curses here. You've probably already seen me. I think I may have already cleared 2 of them or something like that. Going to take a couple of curses here. That's why I re-rolled from melee over to damn vigor. I wanted a little bit of safety, especially because some of the runs I just went through, I lost 2 curses. A few curses. It wasn't just a curse. I lost several runs to several different curses. So I wanted to take vigor here, just so that way we'd have a little bit of, what do I say? A little bit of extra cushion, right? A little bit of extra cushion here. But overall, yeah, this I remember looking at that map and just thinking it was so dense. There were so many icons in such a small. Look at that. It looks kind of gross. It looks kind of gross. I remember I paused to look at the map and I was like, oh my god, what am I even supposed to do here? Like, what are we even doing here, man, right? But as you can see, you know, this has been going by fairly quickly here. And again, even though I'm going to be losing out on a scroll fragment and possibly another scroll, actually, I think it's just a scroll fragment because we get a bonus curse in here. We get the last door that I'm going to go into is a cursed chest room. So we are going to get a decent pull here. But in general, the amount of scroll fragments and stuff you get here is not as good as the other ones. Something else that you're probably not going to want to do after the first boss is go to the bank. So the bank generates its scrolls and all of this other stuff depending on what the highest tier of the next biomes are, right? So if you were to take, if I were to take bank after this, it would scale with cavern, right? It would be very strong. It'd be, you know, level 12 gear, whatever. But for some reason, no matter where you go, the bank will always scale to Stilt Village after the first boss. So you're going to get less stuff. I think the item quality here is only Like these should be level 8, right? Yeah, so the free stuff is level 8. The shops are level 9. So the gear quality is lower too. So do not recommend taking bank after the first boss. Unless you're really jonesing for it and you need some bank, then hey, I'm not gonna stand in the way, man. If that's your vibe, that's your vibe. But just know that you're not gonna be getting as much stuff as you should. So we're rolling into a curse chest here. I don't really think I take a lot of other new items. I'm pretty sure what I'll do here is I'm going to switch away from the stiletto at some point. We're going to get off the stiletto. Maybe I think I might do it as we're transitioning here into the Forgotten Sepulcher. Getting off the stiletto, going to move towards a throwing knife and a bloodsword build. Just going for bleed, bleed, bleed. That's it. Just tons of bleed, tons of bleed. And I think I'm coming over here. Yeah, so took the curse at the end of the level. I didn't see that it was a curse chest until the end. But I'm thinking to myself, it's not that huge of a deal, right? We're going into Forgotten Sepulcher. We're going to get cursed anyways. Like, is it that big of a deal? And at this point, my spirit was so broken. I was just like, who cares? Yeah, I'll take the curse. Let's go. That's fine, right? But clearly, we're going into Sepulcher in a very rare moment in one of my videos. We are going to get both the kill door and the time door. This rarely happens. This hardly ever happens. So I feel like this is a momentum. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. Momentous occasion. We should all celebrate. We should all be. See, I even walked by the door and I was like, oh wait, wait a second. I think I'm gonna grab. Yeah, I'm gonna take Bloodthirsty Shield here just because it fits the theme, right? Fits the theme. But I think what we're going to run into here, so what do we got? We got bleed prop on the cleaver. We also have it on the blood sword. I think I probably should have rolled the cleaver the barnacle one more time. We lost some poison synergy. We lost a little bit of poison synergy there. So barnacle's not going to be doing criticals. It crits on any poisoned enemies, so we're not getting the crits from the barnacle, unfortunately. But I feel like that's okay. As we'll see here, I think the Sepulcher is actually. I think this is actually a fairly fast Sepulcher too. I mean, you can see right there the bleed prop from both the cleaver and the blood sword. It's making enemies, it's making them pop pretty quick here. So yeah, you can see there that red circle is just so huge. Look at this. Every enemy's bleeding here. So we are transitioning into phase 2, right? This is from what was it? Oh, was it Godfrey? What was the Elden Ring boss? Was it Godfrey to Horlu or whatever it is? Or from Ornstein and Smo to Super Smo, whatever it is. We're going into phase 2 of the build here. So this is phase 2 here. So we have moved on from the Snake Fangs and Stiletto build, and we are transitioning towards just a dope bleed build, right? So what's the goal? Blood, blood, blood. That's it, right? All we want is blood. Isn't that a Beatles song? All you need is blood. So all we're doing here is we're getting as much bleeding as possible here. So I'm gonna look for a sinew slicer or a knife dance. I think I roll with. I think I end up taking the sinew slicer here at some point. Yeah. So we're looking for one more bleeding item to fit into our build. Like I said, barnacle doesn't really fit right now. It's doing okay damage a little bit here and there, but doesn't really fit. So we're gonna end up taking the again, knife dance or sinew slicer. I'm pretty sure it's sinew slicer, right? And I did a little bit of scouting there. So I moved forward, right? I kind of poked around. I could not make it down into this corridor right below us because I don't have the first key yet. So I poked around and I was like, all right, what do we have up here, right? So we have the 4 boss cell door, always has enemies in it. I come in here to see what's up, and then I immediately peace out. I'm like, nope, not dealing with that. So I decide to come up here. I'm just trying to avoid enemies, or I should say avoid the more dangerous enemies, so that way I'm not in a position where I'm going to get in trouble. And of course, right here we have a elite enemy. I panic. There's another elite up there. I panic and I say, all right, well, what else can I do here? I think I come in here to get the key. This is always a scary jump right there. Always scary. I find that if I roll right after I jump, I kind of do like this little light somersault. Is that the right word? What is it when you're doing gymnastics? Is it a roll? Little tussle? I forget what it's called, but it's basically, a tumble. That's it. I do a little bit of a tumble. Jump and roll right after each other. You do a little bit of a tumble there to avoid those spikes, but that's always scary. Man, that's always a scary jump. So I get the key. I start moving down here, and I'm just trying to think like, all right, how can I clear this curse here? We got a lower room here. I'm not even gonna engage with it. And what I'm hoping for is we can find some enemies down here where there are not elites. I don't want any elites. I worry about the diamond elites, where you have the little thing that floats in the air and shoots all the little lasers at you. Those come out of nowhere. I do have damn vigor, right? So it wouldn't be the end of the world, but at the same time, I just don't want to deal with it. So I ran away from the 4 boss cell door, because I was getting an axe thrown at me. I ran away from the top path that I was on, because I had an elite coming after me, and now I'm just saying, all right, man, where are we going? And then we do find, thankfully we find some enemies down here. I initially thought that the hallway was empty, but the barnacle started shooting bullets or pellets. What am I even saying? Shots. It's shooting shots down the hallway, so I knew there were enemies there. So I'm like, all right, I think we're good. And we're just gonna keep we're literally gonna keep shredding our way through this biome. So again, bleed prop is great. As you can see there, like I just took that curse a little bit more seriously. But now all bets are off. I'm just gonna be zipping around. I'm gonna be zipping around to the best of my ability here. Right? I don't want to slow down. I am gonna come up here and finish. I'm gonna finish my business here. So I'm gonna get rid of the crab. Pretty easy. Am I gonna grab this? I think I might switch. Really doesn't make that much of a difference. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to clear out that elite. There is the diamond. You only saw it for a split second there. It's a good thing I did not try to get after that elite when I was cursed. And now I'm going to go back into the 4 door here. So even though I don't really need to, this is just sort of like cleanup stuff. I just want to close that circle with myself so I don't forget. I think we're also close to 60. Yeah, so I wanted to come in here and see if I could get that 62. So I just wanted to close the door, see what we could do. And here's the thing too, right? So some people don't go into boss cell doors. I get it. Especially people like Daniel. You're making a bunch of videos now. Again, if you've made like 200 long plays, like going into every boss cell door may not be feasible, may not be fun. However, you may have noticed we just had a starred enemy inside the boss cell door. So you can't find any scrolls or scroll fragments or whatever it is behind those doors. You don't find those there. All of those are in the level. Depending on what BC you are, you're always going to find, X amount of scrolls, X amount of fragments. They're not going to be locked behind boss cell doors. What you could find in there, though, is you could find starred enemies, which is what we just had there. That mummy dropped the legendary twin daggers that I opted not to take. You can find a challenge rift. You can find a legendary, just like a regular legendary. So you can always find stuff in there. So you don't need to. And I think sinew slicer. Yeah, we're going to grab the sinew slicer right here. So you don't need to go into those doors. However, there may be a bonus in there. So just think about it. You got a little extra time. You want to do a little bit more cleanup. You never know. You never know. Maybe even if you don't usually go into boss cell doors, maybe just pop your head in, right? Just roll the window down a little bit. Just kind of like poke your head out a bit and see what's going on in there. Because if you have Explorer's Instinct, you'll be able to see everything. You'll be able to see if there is a starred enemy on the map. You'll be able to see if there's a legendary out there. You won't be able to see challenge rifts, unfortunately. I don't know if I mentioned. I think I mentioned that those can populate inside the boss cell doors too. You won't be able to see any challenge rifts from the map, but you can see legendaries and you can see starred enemies. So it might be worth just taking a quick peek. Just take a little look and like I said, just pop your head in and just say, hey, just coming in. I gotta get out of the way of this axe. Those axes have no leash, so no matter where that enemy is, if it throws an axe at you and it comes back, it can follow you as far as you can run. As far as I know, there's no leash there. So I knew that was coming, so I had to duck and get out of the way. And I think we're just doing our one little... Oh, and we have a good dual stat, and it's a good thing I checked because we also have a challenge rift here. So we get two more good scrolls as we're getting ready to make our way out. As we're making our way out of the Sepulcher here, we got ourselves two good scrolls. That's actually a great necklace. If I had tactics, I would be very, very happy about that. Sometimes I'll take necklaces that have off-color stats for more health, but I think the one I have either has 1 or 2 extra jumps. So we got, yeah, so I think it has at least 1 extra jump. That is my affix of choice when it comes to necklaces. I will generally grab those over most other affixes just for the extra mobility, but also for challenge rift type stuff. The less I have to worry about falling into a pit of spikes, the better. The better, right? And then I think, yeah, we're just rolling here. So I actually do not need to do this. I already got the challenge rift here. I think it might have been, maybe I'm just having fun and I wanted to keep going here. I actually didn't need to do this. I could have done what I just recommended, right? I could have just popped my head in, could have looked at the map, and then if nothing was good, hit the road. But I wonder too if this is just habit. So on this save file, I mentioned this in my flawless boss rush video. My save file is complete. There is nothing left for me to do here. I have every outfit. I have every head. I should have taken that throwing knife. It had bonus to poison on it. I have everything here. So like, I actually don't need the cells and I don't need to clean up. I don't need to kill every enemy. And since we found a fill stone, we found that philosopher's stone in the prisoner's quarters. I don't need any money. I really don't. I mean, yes, I am going to blow it all. I'm definitely going to blow it all before the run's over, but I really don't need the money, so I didn't need to do the full clear there. But I did, and we bounced, and we're going to giant. I think we have, what do we have, 28? 28, 29 scrolls? I already forget. 28. So 28 ain't bad. I generally like to see, or I should say it feels good when your scroll count's a little bit higher here, but 28's fine. 28's fine. We get some good items here. And I think I might blow some money on rerolls here. I think what I should have done is I should have tried to find some sort of poison synergy, right? Maybe toxic cloud around the trap, plus damage to poison on either the throwing knives or the blood sword, or vice versa, or both, or whatever it is. But I didn't. So the damage for giant and for Hand of the King it's not as strong. It's not as strong, it's not as high as I want it to be, which is funny because if you look at this, like this boss fight still goes by pretty quick. Like that's not bad. And I'm looking at this being like, oh man, this damage sucks, dude. You should have rolled for better synergies. This damage is awful, but it's really just a little bit lower than what I'm used to. The luxuries of high scroll counts and good synergies, right? But overall, the fight goes well. You know, we don't take a hit here. We do get ourselves a flawless victory here. But yeah, the damage was just like okay, but it's really funny looking back on that because it's almost like if you don't beat the giant in 5 seconds, it's a bad build. Which is totally not the case. We get a quad damage hard light here. How about that, huh? That would have been something. If this was just a casual run, I probably would have taken that. But we got ourselves a no-hit, and I decide we're going straight to Hand of the King. We are not going to High Peak. We're not going to Distillery. We're not taking the Servant Shipwreck route. We're just going to Hand of the King, and then we're going to make our way to the 5BC biome. What do we have in here? I don't think it's anything good. Yeah, flamethrower turret. That's actually pretty decent. I would have rolled that for better affixes, but again, where Darius wants a straight up dope bleed build, so if it doesn't cause bleed, I don't want it. If it's not going to pierce skin and leave a mess, get out of my build. Get out of my build. Get out of my yard, right? So I decided not to take that. We're taking all of our blood kit into the Hand of the King. And again, this is another fight. Goes pretty well, but the damage it felt low. And I want to watch this with more of a critical eye here. I want to see on like going back to it, how the damage actually looked. For me, it felt like an eternity, which is so funny. So let's see how it is here. Yeah, that's actually fine. That's fine. I think you know what it is too, is you got to remember, or I should say I got to remember, I'm coming off a boss rush where I was doing Curse Flask, Demon Strength, and every boss was getting melted within like 3 or 4 seconds. So I wonder if that's also part of it, where I'm just looking at this being like, oh man, this is so slow. but that's because all of the practice and everything I've been doing, bosses would die in like 3 seconds. But overall, that damage isn't bad. Damage isn't bad. We got support for extra damage being close to the turrets. I think I took open wounds too. We had disengagement for safety, so pretty successful fight here. So we're making our way out of spoiler-free stuff. So we're making our way into the 5BC biome here. So if you have not gotten this far, you do not want to be spoiled. Now's a good chance to bounce and click off the video. If you choose to do that, thanks for hanging. Thanks for listening. But if you want to come in, here we go. What does Daniel say? Come on in. Oh, God. So yeah, we're making it. We made it into the 5BC biome. So you may have noticed a little cut there. My PS5 can only record up to only up to an hour. So I usually segment my runs. I usually will segment until maybe like after the biome, after the first boss, or maybe right before the second boss or something like that. But I was having a lot of fun here, so I just wanted to keep on playing. So I decided to segment it here. And at this point in the run, we get reckless. We get pretty reckless. So my thought process here is I'm in the home stretch. Again, this is like run number 10 over 2 days, where I've been doing nothing. Playing Dead Cells, I've been doing nothing but listening to myself talk and making mistakes. And it's actually really funny. I'm not going to play any of the outtakes, if you want to call them that. But basically, like, going back to my commentary, like before I deleted the files, I'd listened to the last part of the run. And it was really funny because there was one, actually, you know what? I am going to play it. I'm going to play the damned Vigor clip right here. It's going to take a few seconds. I'm going to play that right here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Is this it? Oh no, we got Vigor. We're okay. Fuck. So that's what I was working with. So that's what I was working with. It was actually really funny. It was really funny to go back to some of those and just be like, oh my God, dude. Like the immediate change in tone, the amount of frustration that I had was so funny. So I've basically been doing nothing but listening to myself talk and playing here. So at this point, I'm like, all right, man. For the first time in a long time, I'm like, I got stuck. I should have grabbed this. Do I grab it? I do. Okay. I think I might actually roll poison off that. We'll see. I remember going into Collector and just not having the build that I wanted. But yeah, just like all I've been doing is playing, listening to myself talk. And even now, I'm just like, man, it's like, you ever listen to a podcast and it just stays on, right? You have a podcast and I don't know, you just like say play all. And then after like 7 hours, you're like, dude, like I am so tired of hearing this guy mumble, right? It's like I came in to listen about like, I don't know, true crime from the 1900s in the UK. And now this guy's like rambling on and on about like Marmite or whatever it is. Like, I'm just not in the mood, you know? And even from, I'm like knocking shit over. Even for myself, I'm not in the mood to hear myself talk. So as we're going through this, I'm like, all right, man, we're almost done. We're almost done. We are at the final level here. And my goal here was to just get out. My goal here was to get out, you know, make sure that I have enough flasks to get myself through the level, make sure I get enough flasks to get myself through the boss here. It's actually a pretty good frantic sword. I'm not going to take it clearly, but that was a decent legendary. Had 60% bleeding, pretty sick. But I was just like, let's just get out of here. So my astrolab is sloppy. I think right here, yeah, we got 2 librarians at the same time. We get stuff going on. Super sloppy. I think I might actually, I'm going to try to, I think I slammed down here. I take a literal leap of faith, being like, all right, there's going to be ground beneath me. Let me get back to the food shop. But yeah, this is, I feel like I should apologize for this. I feel like I should apologize because this is not the quality of gameplay that I would like to showcase on my channel. How's that, right? But then again, I look back and I'm like, dude, I've had so many crappy runs. I've made so many mistakes. Whatever, right? Whatever. So I'm looking at the map here. I'm just trying to find the second key. So we got the first key. I think we took out the Slammer Elite, right? So I think we're looking for the Failed Experiment Elite. Just getting that second key so we can get in the tower and make our way out. And I think, how much time is left here? Oh, we only get 7 minutes left on the video. That's great. Yeah, so we are moseying super fast here. We're playing super fast. You know, it's like when you have a video, you know, you can kind of like set the speed where it's like, you know, 1.5 speed or 0.75 speed. I'm on Point Danielson speed right now, where I'm just booking. Just booking it. What am I doing? I'm running around like crazy. I'm not using my skills. I'm not going in every door. I'm just trying to get the hell out of here, right? So funny. So funny. But there we go. So we got our second key. We're gonna mosey on down to the tower here. I actually took the wrong teleporter here. Yeah. And I'm gonna do, again, super fast. I'm just gonna try to get down and try to get up as quickly as I can here. I think that we actually get ourselves a good dual stat on the way up. I'm pretty sure we do. Yeah, actually we do. On the way up, we get ourselves a good dual stat. So I think we leave here with 32, which is average, I think. I think 32, 33 is average. So it's an average scroll count. So again, nothing to write a sonnet about, you know. Nothing to sit by a fireplace and lovingly look at, but it's decent enough. Decent enough. We're gonna get out of here successfully. I do decide to drink there. I had disengagement. I probably could have waited. A little bit and waited for that to pop, but I decided to just drink. Again, reckless, playing fast, hitting the gas here, just trying to get the hell out of here as quickly as I can. And this is more of a, yeah, there it is. So there's our good dual stat, right? And this was more, at this point I wasn't, please don't take offense to this. At this point, I remember playing, and I was not being very, like conscientious or respectful of the viewer's experience. I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. I gotta bounce. And you'll see here, I think I definitely take some hits here, right? Yeah, I get trapped up against the wall. I think, there you go. That's when disengagement procs, and I'm like, do I drink another flask? I do. Right, so we drink. I just take another big hit, right? So it's just sort of like the emotional is not the right word, just like the mental exhaustion from repeatedly getting owned, consistently listening to my own voice for like 4 hours, and then finally getting to a point where we're gonna be able to make it out. Take another hit there. There we go. And I think we're almost done. I think there's just one more little section here, and then we're gonna go up against the elites. Yeah, this is the end here. And look at that. That enemy did not have a lot of health because it got hit with the bleed propagation. It got stuck in that aura at some point and ended up almost dying from the blood. So coming up here, we're fighting our last two slammer elites. Got to kill these two birds to get the key, and then, or I should say, the keys. So that's our ticket out of here. But I still have money. Still got plenty of money. I'm going to make my way to the food shop. I'm going to grab, I think I'm just going to buy the flask. I'm actually not going to use it yet. There's a reason for that. We're going to grab the flask, and then we're going to pack our bags, and we're going to get out of here. We're going to make our way to the final boss. We're going to wrap this run up. This bloody good run, right? I'm going to wrap things up here. I did not get the 60, right? We didn't get 60 kills here, so we're going to miss the door, which is fine. And here's where I make some mistakes. So I did not spend enough time thinking more critically about my affixes, right? So I think I hit the mutation thing here. And if you look, I have bonus to poison here, and I roll it off. I roll off the poison. What I could have done, there we go. So we got Toxic Cloud. The cleaver does plus 80% to poison, and I'm spending all my money here trying to get poison on something. And I'm just saying, oh my god, I'm almost done. I got one more reroll. I'm out of cash. So I had to unfortunately stop rolling. So I'm coming in here with not enough synergy, which is a bummer. If I were, and here's the build. I think I'm going to pause here so we can see. Yep, look at the sad lack of synergy in my main items there. Very disappointing. I should have just taken a step back and been like, all right, I already have poison here. What else am I looking for, right? Maybe I was looking for double damage because I felt like my damage wasn't high enough. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. This was, what time is it now? This was like 5 hours ago. I couldn't tell you what I was thinking. I can't even tell you what I was thinking at the beginning of the video here, right? But we're gonna, so I didn't drink that flask in the Astral Lab. I wanted to drink it here. We took tainted flask, so we're gonna get extra damage for 20 seconds. So once the fight starts, we're gonna get dot. We're gonna have synergy between our traps. We're gonna have extra damage from support, and we're gonna have extra damage from tainted flask. And you can see here, that's pretty good damage. That's pretty good damage. I think he gets one attack off, and then is he gonna drink now? Yeah. So what I should have done, if not at that point, at the next time he drinks, I should have also drank, so that way I could keep my tainted right here. I should have drank right there. So I could keep my tainted flask damage bonus up. So we're missing out on like 90%, almost double damage here. We're missing out on like a nice chunk. I actually get hit by something. Yeah, I get hit by the archer's arrow there. Now I drink, right? I don't drink. See that again? It's like my brain. I'm like, get me out, get me out, get me out. Which is probably not the best mindset to be in when you're, there we go. So now I drink. Probably not the best mindset to be in when you're just trying to get a win and like trying to enjoy some gameplay, right? Take a hit, disengagement, right? I do not drink with the bubble when I should have. I think I drink now, which is funny because then he drops the flask and then I drink again. I got a problem. I don't know if you realize that, but there we go. It's over. For you, this was how long is this video? About an hour. For you, this was just a hour trip down a couple of cool viewer builds. Again, thanks for Heiro and Darius for their submissions. But for me, this was a 2-day dragon that I finally slayed, so that way I can move on. I can move on with my life. I can export this audio file. I can throw it in with my video, and I can put it online, and I can move on with my life. But thank you both for your viewer suggestions. This was actually, both of these builds were really fun. Hopefully you folks enjoyed learning a little bit more Snake Fangs and Sadist Stiletto, and then just digging into some good bleed prop, some good bleed damage, some good blood. Anything else? More blood? Right? But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful. I'll see you in the next one, all right? So as always, thanks for watching, and good luck out there.